first, maybe tell us a little bit about Poker Power for the listeners that don't know.
Absolutely. I'm happy to do that. So, and thank you for asking about it. It's near and dear to my heart, and to, we have a team, a small team that works on it operationally every day, but a large team of teachers who are busy every single day, teaching, one more person tomorrow than today about this game that we didn't know. And what I like to say, there's been a secret, and it's been right under our nose for a really long time. And it's this game of poker that has a terrible stereotype. And it's truly a game of skill. And it turns out that the skills that you learn from playing poker can help you professionally, and it can help you in your everyday life. And men have been using this game for years and years. There's over 100, and we don't really know the numbers, but certainly over 100 million people who play poker. Less than 7% are women, and they're starting at a really young age. And what they're learning is strategy. They're learning how to take risk. They're learning capital allocation. All these things you need when you get, in many ways, into not just being a professional, right? But earlier on, when you're in moments, in classes, in classrooms, when you're interviewing for jobs, right? There are these skills that you can take with you at each one of these times in your life. And what's ended up happening, as we've been on a mission to teach 1 million women. So just by background, I did not play poker. I learned just now 4 years ago. And I was surrounded by poker players. I thought it was a complete waste of time. And turns out it's not. And I learned to play accidentally. So, or sort of accidentally. So my daughter was playing a tennis match, and her dad, so I have four kids, and the youngest is a girl, playing a tennis match, very good athlete, not winning. And her dad was watching and got frustrated. And instead of yelling at her, he comes home and he tells me she may as well be hitting against a wall. She may as well be hitting with her teacher. She doesn't realize she's playing against someone who is thinking and strategizing on the court. And she needs to learn to play poker, and walks away. And I did nothing with that information. Because what was I going to do with it? But
you're like okay.
Yeah. And by the way, he doesn't play poker either. He had played before, but he was more like a blackjack person. And like 2 weeks later, I was like, should we teach our 14-year-old daughter to play poker? And I keep saying this because it's like the fact that this is 4 years ago, I was saying it still sounds strange today when I say it. Shouldn't be strange at all. It's just a card game. And it's actually a game of skill. Chess is a game of skill. Poker is a proven game of skill. Like, why wouldn't I teach my daughter to play this game? And so then I was like, well, I'm going to teach her, like maybe she can learn with her friends. So I went to the friends' moms and said, can you just do an experiment? I just want to try this. And so we had 10 girls, and then the moms wanted to join. So it's 10 girls, 10 moms. And lesson 1 to lesson 4, it was like a miracle unfolded. I always say the skies open. Like the girls went from whispering to each other, and like if someone lost their chips, be like, you can have my chips.
Oh yeah.
To sitting up straight and peeking at their cards, and nobody was going to take their chips. Like I've never seen something so like it's almost like it was acting. It was so peculiar to see that transformation. I was like, there's something really here. So anyway, I was like, gosh, if we can just build confidence. And at this point, I didn't realize all the nuances to this very rich, strategic game. I did not know, because I'm learning with them. So we started teaching more girls. And I always say, going into COVID, we were like 17 clubs in 3 states. And my goal was always to teach the young girls so they could start to get repetition at very early age, practice decision-making, practice building their confidence, not sort of these high-level skills, but just being at that table. Doesn't matter who you're playing with. You belong at that table just like anybody else. And then it comes. So as that unfolded, right around the time, and I remember because there's actually a woman who stopped me in the bathroom, and it was at Peak 6, and she had just started to learn, because the Peak 6 women, when we went to, there's about 2,000 people in a Peak 6, when we went to them, we said, we want to teach your daughters, want to teach your nieces or your whomever. And they were like, well, it's so good for them. Why aren't we learning? And I was like, that's a good idea. Anyway, so this woman stopped me in the bathroom. I remember it was like literally like, should we be talking to each other because this COVID, we don't know what this COVID thing is. And she's like, I just want to say thank you. And I didn't know who she was, young girl who had recently started for Peak Six. And I never thought I would sit at a poker table and I won a hand. And it's like, it's the smallest thing, but it was such a big thing. I was like, what is it that we have created around poker? And, sort of these last bastions of these very, gender male dominated things, like what has happened that it was so great. I literally had like the hair rose up on the back of my neck. I was like, wow, it really affected her that much. Anyway,
I know.
We start in COVID, and then we realize as we're teaching the women, we start, we can do this on Zoom. We can do this in an app. And by the way, there's no gender neutral poker app out there, as far as I'm concerned anyway, which we now have built several years later. But so we start playing, and then Morningstar heard what we were doing, and they wanted to play. And so we did 30 women, 60 women, 90 women today. Now we are in 40 countries where we just hit over 200 companies, biggest tech firms in the world, the biggest banks in the world, biggest law firms in the world. It is crazy. We don't call a single person. They call every single day. We have another conference, another association, another summit, another event. We're closing AWS Women's Summit on the East Coast just a few days ago. We are teaching all of these women. Now, the interesting thing is that these corporate women totally get it once you start playing. And so in our sort of 90-minute one-time event, if that's what you choose, and then we have a curriculum of 12 lessons, and then we have privates after that, but you know how to play, and you can sit there and you can have a strategy and you can feel confident. But the real key to the whole thing is getting reps and playing. It's like exercise, right?